Peace and blessings, family. This is your brother asarimhotep with the Madhu Mandela Institute for the Advancement of Science and Culture and the Martin Delaney Center for Egyptology. Today is Thursday, August the 19th, 2021. And today we have a very special guest, Dr. Paa-Kofi Akins, and he'll teach me how to pronounce it more correctly when he comes on. But this is a good brother who I met at one of the Shekhan to Diop conferences some years back, who was joining us live all the way in Japan in the future. So in Japan, it is Friday, August the 20th. So we welcome him with open arms, and we're going to discuss embracing African spirituality and a whole lot more when we return in just a moment. Welcome. This is the Mbongi, and I am your host again, Brother asarimhotep. And, we're starting a little later than we normally do, but, there's I think it's a 14-hour time difference in between Japan and the New York time zone. So, just had to adjust slightly, given the schedules. But we are here, we are live, and I want to thank each and every one of you who are joining us live, and of course, those of you who are catching us a little later through the archives. And so I want to shout out just a few people who have made themselves known in the chat room. So peace and blessings to Sunjiata, Ata, Kakra, and Zombie. Kimoyo, West African Spirit, peace and blessings. Peace to Donnie Williams, Sister Tamika One, Brother Omar Reed is in the building. And of course, those of you who are joining us on Facebook, either on the Harold Johnson page or the asarimhotep page. And so thank you for joining us and for your support. And we are just going to get it in today. And so, but before I do that, I just have a few announcements. And so, some upcoming interviews that we have on Sunday, August the 22nd, we have 2 interviews. And so this whole weekend, we're going to be doing this internationally. So we are currently in Japan right now. And then on Sunday, we're going to start off in Nigeria with Dr. Tunde Adegbola, who is a human language technologist, who's a linguist, who deals with developing technologies and software for all kinds of linguistic purposes. And so we're going to be talking about that, language initiatives in Nigeria, and also deciphering Yoruba bata drums, and a whole bunch more. So, for those of you who are on our Patreon page, we talked about interviewing him when we were interviewing Dr. Modupe Oduyoye, who is a world-renowned linguist and theologian out of Nigeria. And he, Dr. Agdebola, helped to facilitate that interview. with Dr. Modupe Odioye. Dr. Modupe is old school, he's in his 80s. And so, him navigating this internet space, uh, is not the most ideal. But we had Dr. Agdibola with us, and who that's all he does is technology. So it was good to have him, on board and helping us out with that. So that's going to be at 9 a.m. on Sunday, and on Eastern time, New York time, 9 a.m. Eastern. For those, so it's going to be an early day. So they're 5 hours ahead of us in uh, in Nigeria, in Ibadan. So that's on Sunday early in the morning, and then later on that evening, I believe it's going to be 5 p.m. Eastern time. We have our good brother Duarte Odara, PhD, and we're going to be talking about his dissertation, some of the themes from his dissertation, Paa-Kofi, and I cannot pronounce um, Portuguese well, but I think this is a philosophical and cultural map of classical African of classical Africa, if I'm mistaken. So if he's in the chat, I don't even know if he's in the chat. He can correct me. So I'm gonna get on my Portuguese so I can come down there to Brazil and visit. But anyway, we're going to have Dr. Odara on Sunday the 22nd. So we're hopping from Japan to Nigeria all the way to Brazil, and we're going to keep this conversation worldwide. And speaking of travel, if you do not know, I am one of many special guests who will be facilitating and speaking at a special conference that's going to be part of the Aket Hoppy Tours. If y'all know, I was in a film called Hoppy, directed and organized by our good brother Taki Grant and others. And so this is going to be a very, very special trip. And so I encourage you all to get on akettours.com and get the details of this particular tour and what's all going to be involved. And so there, it's I think 10 or 11 days, February the 18th to the 28th. And speaking will be Brother Anthony Browder, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Professor James Smalls, Dr. Solange Ashby, Dr. Rosalind Jeffries, Dr. Wade Nobles, and Brother Mfudishi Jehuti Times. And of course, your brother Asarimhotep. So this is going to be action packed, and it's going to be a very dynamic tour. So again, visit akettours.com for more information on how you can be a part of this historical moment. And lastly, before I bring on our guest, this book that I have in my hand, it is out now. Well, it'll be out next week. Muntu wa Nzambi, Portrait of Human as God's Special Creation. I have started my own publishing company, and the one of the first books to be published is going to be by Dr. Chinima Lima Mukinge out of the Congo. And so this is going to be dealing with Baluba philosophy, thought, and religion, but in comparison with other African traditions from across the continent, from ancient Egypt to the Dogon to the Yoruba, Mande, Gikuyu, Mongol, Yansi, Hema, and even though it's not named on the back, I know he deals with Akan a little bit, as well. So, it is a dynamic book. We're going to have him back on the program so we can discuss this book exclusively. So y'all can go online to maduindelapress.com and order the book. And so it is approximately 335 pages of just pure African goodness. And we're going to get into deep with what's in here. And so believe me when I say you want this on your shelf. And so it's Muntu Wa Zombie Portrait of Human as God's Special Creation, subtitled From African Creation Stories, Religious Beliefs, and Cultural Practices. And so that is available now, and some more people have joined us. So peace and blessings to Octo Thorpe, Born Eternal, Lord Allah, Pure Black. And am I missing someone? No, I said you already. And so, yes, thank you. And Brother Robert Rand, there you go, for joining the conversation. And so without further ado, bringing on our special guest for the evening or the afternoon where he is at, and that is Dr. Paa-Kofi Akins. Welcome, 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 sir. How are you doing?
Yeah, bro. Good.
Indeed, indeed. Yes, as I said before, I met Dr. And how do you pronounce the last name correctly? I know
It's
I'm messing up.
Paa-Kofi Aikins.
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 Aikins. Yeah.
So yes, I met Dr. Akins at in Philadelphia at the Sheikh Anta Diop conference, and I was very intrigued by just his story alone, and then his presentation and what he's doing out there in Japan. And so I wanted y'all to get a glimpse of some of that information. And so, since this is your first time here on the Mbongi, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from? You know, your education, and how did you get interested in the subjects of study that you are involved in?
Okay. Thank you, brother. Actually, I'm an African in the first place. I'm an African. I'm from Ghana. Um, I'm from the ethnic group of Akan. I'm an Akan, a Fanti. Okay. And that is just a description that I give myself. But actually, I'm an African. And I was, educated in Ghana. I started everything in Ghana. But from the beginning of my education, or let's say beginning of my schooling, I got the impression that there's something wrong with the whole system that we're going through in Ghana, particularly religion and education. Yeah, and what started the whole thing was I went with my mom to a church one day, and when we entered the church, we saw the picture of Jesus Christ. And in Ghana, everywhere you see the white Jesus Christ, big, very big poster in the church. So when we entered, she told me, Kofi, you see, that is God. So you always, do good. He's always watching you. He's looking after you. So you do good always. And at that moment, something just struck me inward because at home, my grandparents and the village elders, they have made me to understand God is nature and we're living with nature always. Wherever we are, God is with us. And there was nothing like God was an African, God was a European, God was something. No, God was like a spiritual being around us. But here we are, my mom is telling me that is God on the wall. So you have to be careful. So what? Then I started thinking, is God a white man? Why not a black man? Why did God choose to, make himself a white man or, make us, those kind of things started in my mind. But I couldn't get any far with it because my mom would just shut me down if I asked questions. So I stopped. Okay. From then, it started, ringing in my mind always till I think at junior high school. So school also, we were doing the same thing, going to church, those kind of things. So we go back home and it's different thing. we pour libation. My grandparents do everything in the village, and I really enjoy that. But the moment you come to school, you have to behave different. All right. Okay. Still, I was, fighting with it in me till then secondary school. Yeah. There, we were doing political development in Ghana. Yeah, political development in Ghana after the Europeans came in. Then one professor or one lecturer hinted a point. He said, all what we know about Kwame Nkrumah, that Kwame Nkrumah brought in something we call Kankanyami in Ghana, which is like a African spiritual something that he was using to charm people or something. All those kind of things were fabricated to just tarnish Nkrumah, because Nkrumah was so powerful and they needed something to get him down. So they brought in those kind of things. They fabricated a lot of things to get Nkrumah down. That is how we got those kind of Kangami story. But actually, Nkrumah had nothing like that. And Nkrumah, many things Nkrumah did which were not told at school. This guy told us. That was the second time I got a point on all. There's really something going on. There's something really going wrong. One, religion. Then two, education. Why Nkrumah should be given to us as somebody who's so evil and so bad? Okay, so from there, I started my research on both education and religion. But, being in Ghana, you didn't get much information on these kind of things until I decided to travel, So, like in Ghana, my life was just around this, daily life and other things. But at the same time, the education and the religion we're going through made me to feel that, no, there's something going wrong and I need to do something about it. So that's how I started the whole thing. Yeah.
You said something very interesting at the beginning of your talk, and that is something that I just had a show recently.
Yeah.
And and the title may be a little controversial, but I said atheism is for white people. And my central argument was that when you talk about not believing in God or the gods, it only makes sense in the Abrahamic religions.
That's it.
Because everywhere I studied, God was existence itself in Africa, or God is nature, or God is cosmos and universe. And so you basically said that without any prompts, coming from an Akon perspective.
Yeah.
So to argue that you are an atheist would be to exist in nature and say that the nature around you doesn't exist, and the people around you and the animals and the cosmos and all of that doesn't exist. And so you just reaffirmed something in just that brief introduction.
Yeah. And brother, let me come here.
Go ahead.
We've been made to know that Europeans brought God to Africans, or through the church we get to know God. But actually, it's the opposite. Africans go to church to lose the godliness in them. We lose the godliness we are in us, or the godliness that we are made up of. We lose it when we start the church or the Christianity or whatever it is, or Islam. Because, at home, in the villages, we live with godliness. African daily life is based on godliness. That is nature. The way our grandparents were living with nature, animals, people, everything. We express the essence of God in everything we do. But it's only when we start these organized religions from Europe or from foreign countries like Europe and Arabic, that is where we lose our godliness and we start to take this kind of created images, from Europe and Arab to become our God. And that is where we start missing everything that makes us a people. That's where we lose everything. So we need to take very, very particular attention about this. We don't go to church to know about God. Africans know God already. Rather, we go to church to lose this godliness and take on something different. which is making us like what we're doing now. Okay,
Mhm.
so that's the point I want to make.
And indeed, I agree wholeheartedly, and that's just based on my experience and research. Like
Mm-hmm.
that idea,
Mm-hmm.
for those who are still uh, indigenously minded,
Yeah,
if I can say that phrase,
yeah,
in Africa, have the same sentiments, and that has been part of, just my working, bringing that all together to conf- to further confirm the hypothesis of Shekinah Job
yeah,
about the interrelatedness
yeah,
of African people in
yeah.
terms of language, psychology,
Mm-hmm.
and culture.
Mm-hmm.
And so, uh, with that, like one of my missions is to show the benefits of traditional African wisdom and ways of knowing and being. And uh and so I want to ask you, from your experiences, what are some of those benefits? What are those things, that those godliness attributes that we lose when we join those European and Middle Eastern institutions?
Yeah. Okay. One. Um, the first thing that we lose is that the African meaning of God, that our conception of God, that God is the universe, God is a spirit. It's that spirit is in us. It's in your brother, in your sister, in everybody, in the animals, in the plants, in the sea, everything natural around you. We see godliness in them.
Mhm.
These were the things which were keeping us very strong, and we were so, very happy. We were confident in whatever we were doing because we know God was with us and it was within us. Okay, now the moment we start this foreign meaning of God, I mean foreign religions, Christianity, Islam, and those kind of things, we start to lose that bit, little by little, bit by bit. We start going, going away from this kind of beliefs of what kind of things that we believe in. Then we try to turn to what they are telling us from the Bible. Okay, like
Mhm.
God was this. God actually came down, spoke to Moses, gave Moses laws. Those kind of things, which
Yeah.
is not actually real, and nobody can, prove it. But we are forced to accept that, and that becomes the beginning of when we start losing our godliness, because the God that we have been made to know, that is nature, is around us, is in the earth, is in our ancestors, in everywhere. We start to forget about that. Then come to the point that, oh, God really came down. He met Moses, and he gave some instruction to Moses. And these are the 10 commandments that they tell us. But just go through the 10 commandments, and if you get to your history, the Medunata or the 42 laws of Ma'at, you see, these kind were picked, were selected from this kind of 42 laws of Medunata. Then they gave us in the Bible as the 10 commandments of the sin. So before we forget about this kind of our self-centeredness and self-spirituality and everything, we need to look at the religion, or let's say the Bible and the Quran, very, very critically. We need to look at it very well and try to break it down and fix it into our conceptualization of God, our African concept of God. Then we realize everything they are trying to tell us very, superficially is something we have deep in our traditions in the villages. Okay. So, like pouring of libation that we do, they speak against it. But if you go through the Bible, you find it somewhere in the Bible. Sacrifices that we do, that they say, oh, that is evil, that is this, and that. You go to the Bible, you see the same thing there. But it is given us in a very different way, in a very, westernized way. So we accept that.
Mhm.
But in our tradition, that we see it every day, how we do it, the prayers that we do before we kill animals, all those kind of things, we see it as evil. So these are things we need to, we need to break them down very well for the other people to get the truth that we have our God and everything before these Europeans came in. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I had mentioned to you
Yeah.
prior to us going live, you know, was going to ask you about, you know, so I know it's hard, you know, with the colonial situation just in Africa,
Yeah.
but you know, maintaining that sense and connection is that sense of connectedness to the tradition, the communal tradition of African wisdom traditions. Um, how do you maintain that in a foreign space? So, actually, before I get to that question, I want to rewind a little bit and ask you how you got to Japan to live in Japan, and then we can go into that question about how do you maintain
All
that
right.
in a space
Okay.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Actually, from Ghana, I didn't think of going to Japan. I didn't know much about Japan.
Mm,
My intention was to leave Ghana, go to Libya, teach, and make some money, then go to Europe and make deep research about Christianity. That
mm,
was my motive of leaving Ghana. Okay, so I got Libya all right. I thought for about a year in Libya, but then in my experience in Libya, I realized I needed more. I needed to know more in Asia also, which they
mm,
call, let's say, for instance, the Middle East area, which is
mm,
mistakenly called, sorry, I'm making a mistake. The Northeast Africa, which is mistakenly called Middle East.
mm,
Okay, so the moment I read Middle East, what's Middle East? Is there any kind of Middle West or Middle South or something?
mm,
I couldn't understand well, but from reading, I got to know it was just northeast of Africa, which is being named as Middle East. Okay, there were a lot of things I need to know in Middle East. So from Libya, I went to Turkey.
mm,
Then from Turkey, I moved to Iran. Yeah,
mm,
it was in Iran that I met some, they call themselves atheists. Atheists.
mm,
Yeah. Then we started, talking about religion, God, Christianity, Islam, Abraham, those kind of things in the hotels. And I realized the whole thing, if if you get deep, it goes straight to African tradition.
mm,
Yeah. But these people have taken, for instance, the Arabs have taken this kind of African tradition from ancient Egypt and they have Arabized it. They have turned it into Arabic culture
mm,
and using it to control us. If you go to Christianity, listen to the explanation they were giving me in the Bible. It's the same thing. The same African ancient high cultures, which they got hand on from Egypt, that they have Europeanized
mm,
and turned it as a Bible to educate or to brainwash us. Okay, so in my conversations with this kind of atheists in Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and later in Afghanistan,
mm,
these three places, I became so convinced that Christianity and Islam both are the same thing. These three places, Christianity and Islam, the two, they're all the same. They just have some kind of cosmetics dressings on the surface, but deep down it's the same. And the Arabs using it to dominate us. The European is using the Christian to dominate us. So the best things I got get out of it. But mind you, until this time, I was still a Christian. All
mm.
right. I still called myself a Christian, believed in the Bible, Jesus Christ, and those kind of things. So this is the time I started losing that kind of Christian Bible, Jesus Christ, Abraham, Moses. I started losing them little by little. Okay. Okay. I kept going. From there, I went to Pakistan. Then from Pakistan, I moved to India.
Hmm.
There, I was still meeting people. And, different way of thinking, different, how they think about religion, how they think about God, how they think about people, culture, everything totally different from Ghanaians or from Africans. So I really made some learning there. I kept going from India. I went to Nepal. Nepal. Then from Nepal, I went to Myanmar. From Myanmar down to Thailand. Okay. Now, when I go to Thailand, I got exhausted, both financially and physically. I got exhausted. So I was in Thailand for some time. And there I started teaching again, made some money. It was in Thailand that I met Japanese first time. Yeah. And I mistook him for a Chinese. Okay. So I called him Chinese and said, no, he's not Chinese. He's Japanese. But I questioned, what? You look Chinese. Everything around you is Chinese. Why you say you're Japanese? He said, yeah, I'm Japanese. So we Japanese, we look similar to Chinese, but we're different. Okay, yeah, that's the first time. And I got interested in him. So we made friends, and we became friends. We started going around. So, he was also impressed about my way of life because I never liked eating in restaurants. I like to cook myself. Got some herbs, vegetables, and fruits and other things, and make something and eat myself. And he was so impressed. So he said, how do you eat? I said, okay, I do this and that's okay. Can I join you? I said, okay. So I took the person to my house and I cooked. He enjoyed and she really liked it. So, oh, wow, good. Can I come tomorrow? I said, yeah, you can. So for about a week, we were eating together. Then this guy left to Japan. And I think he told the parents about how he met an African helped this and that. So the parents asked her to call me, if possible, she invite me to Japan. Because the parents have never seen an African black man. So, okay. So this guy calling me. No, I don't have time to go to Japan, this and that. It's okay. Once I decided I want to see Japan too. So I moved to Japan. But before then, Thailand also, I've experienced the Thai style of Buddhism, which was also different from those in India, Nepal, and Myanmar. Okay. So I got it there too. I decided to go to Japan. So I came down. When I came to Japan, it was quite different, totally different from what I envisaged that Japan is going to be like this and that. But one thing that made me to stay on was the money. Yeah, the money. My friend asked me to work with him in his father's company because the father told him, your guy is going to spend all his money in a short time. And our company is so busy. Let him work. He will help us and he also get money. So my friend told me, said, Kofi, would you like to work? So why not? So I started. And I was impressed with my first salary. I got about 280,000 yen, which is equivalent to about $2,500. That was my first salary. Far way bigger than what I was making in Libya,
Yeah.
So I got convinced. And this guy told me, Kofi, if you can do overtime, if you can work longer hours, overtime in the night, you can make more. It's okay, why don't you do it? So we did it. And my second salary was $350,000, which was 3,200 US dollars, which was actually encouraging. So from there, I decided to, work a little more, make some money, maybe go back to Ghana and do something. Yeah. So actually, this is the way I got to Japan. And this is how I decided to stay in Japan.
If I recall correctly,
Mm-hmm.
I think part of your presentation, I don't know if it was part of your presentation or was it part of just the story from when we were talking in terms of sharing, African culture in Japan in terms of drumming and things of this nature because of this hard work ethic that that they weren't, more so the men, if I remember the conversation, it was more so the men who was just really, kind of really stressed out and tense all the time because they didn't have these, expressive ways, to be human. So if you recall that, can you tell me a little bit about that and that work you were doing?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Like I said, when I came to Japan, I started working with them, and I kept making friends with Japanese, and we go around do many things. But what I realized was life in Japan was totally different from that of Ghanaians.
Mm.
The good side is Japanese are really hardworking. They really work and they really work good, very serious. Okay, Ghanaians we're not serious about work, and we can do it anyhow. Just haphazardly, and So that was two things I found between Ghana and Japan. The other side was Japanese have lost some of their self-centeredness or some of their spiritual base, things that make a person or something human. Many
Mm.
Japanese have lost that. Not they have lost just because of working, but the education they also go through doesn't make it. They don't encourage them on those kind of things. They encourage them on working rather. So I decided to do something on that
Mm.
because I was learning like a great deal from them. So I also thought of giving something. So we started talking about African story, and the moment I start talking about African story, they get so interested. Okay, and I was relating the whole thing to things that I see in their society, which they have neglected.
Mm.
But in Africa, we stick to it. For instance, the image of um, images like small statues, which we're keeping in our homes and our community,
Mm.
like representation of the gods that we're worshiping. We see this kind of little gods or mini gods every corners in our society. And the moment we see that, we remember, these are the gods around here, they're looking after us, and we pray or something, we give some food or something. I saw the same thing in Japan, and still today they're around in Japan here. But the Japanese know nothing about those kind of things. They don't consider those kind of things as part of society.
Mm.
Those things were there, maybe once in a year, somebody will just go and put something there, put some red ribbon on it or something. But they don't do anything to it as we were doing in Ghana. So
Mm.
I started telling them about those kind of things. So then it's like, wow, how do you know our culture like this? I said, actually, it's your culture, but it's not just Japanese culture. It's almost everywhere. And in Africa, we got the same thing. So I started telling them about it. And one professor was so interested, and he invited me to his school to
Mm.
go and speak about this kind of things I'm talking about. I started talking about this kind of things. But what I realized was the Japanese students were so, let me say, very dull, very quiet. You cannot see any kind of, active impression in the faces, and they are so dumb. So I wanted to crack some jokes so that they can, smile or something. Still, they didn't. So I,
Mm.
I, I thought of using the drum because in Ghana, the drum is like the spirit or the heartbeat of the people.
Mm.
Yeah. The moment you hear the sound of a drum, it kicks you. You feel something. It gives some kind of energy which you don't see it. But the moment you hear the drum, kong, 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 oh, something good is coming. You feel like that.
Mm.
So I thought maybe the drum can give them some energy. So I started using the drum. And surely, when I started using the drum, the whole thing changed.
Mm.
They started sitting up, looking at me with smiling face, trying to see what I'm doing, and So I said, "Whoa, now I got it. It's the drum. Yeah, the same
Mm.
heartbeat in Africa." So I started using the drum, and that's what I've been using to today.
Uh,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see. Well, you mentioned, and normally I would save this for towards the end,
yep.
but uh, you came up with this acronym for a common uh, African. Well, the acronym would spell out the name of a deity that we all
Hmm.
should be familiar with,
Yep.
and this is the African Mind Emancipation Network.
Yep.
And you've created a Facebook page for it. Can you tell us a little bit about what
Yeah.
this is and what's the mission
Yeah.
about that.
Why I came by this country was once I was from Philadelphia after the DIEP conference, going to New York. And in the bus, there was a lady, African American lady, sitting by me, and she saw the book I was reading. I was reading I said, the Jesus, forgotten the title, the Jesus Mystery. Yeah, the Jesus Mystery. And the moment she saw the Jesus Mystery, she thought, oh, I'm a Christian. So she started talking to me. But rather, I told her, well, I'm not a Christian. Rather, the book is telling how they created that Christian and that Jesus image, how they created it, how they invented it, and pushed on us. She just got angry for those kind of words that I used. That Jesus image was created or invented, and it was pushed on us. She got angry with it. He said, brother, what the hell would you say this to my Jesus? I said, wow. I said, sister, take it easy. Take it easy. This is the fact I'm telling you. So she asked me, in America, your papa, your this, your dad, they were slaves. It was Jesus who this. I said, well, you're getting the whole thing wrong. One, Jesus has never saved any African from anything.
Exactly.
And she was getting more angry. So I said, sister, let me cool it down. Actually, I'm not African American. I'm a Ghanaian from Africa. So I just came for a conference here. So when I said I'm an African from Ghana, she changed. Oh, you from Ghana? I said, yeah. What are you doing here? She asked me. I said, well, I went to a conference. And what conference is that? I said, the Sheikh Anta Diop conference. She didn't know that. So I broke it down. Yeah, Sheikh Anta Diop was this and this and that, and this is what we are continuing, the work he did, this and that. Oh, so you all against the Jesus, that my savior, you all against it. I said, no, we're not against him. So, in a way, we finished over there. Then, when I got to New York, I joined the D train to Uptown Bronx. When I was going, a young, like a student, African American, also was sitting by me. He also saw the book and also got the same thing. Oh, brother, you Christian? Oh, yeah, I belong to this and this and that church and this. I said, no, you got it wrong. You're missing the whole thing. I'm not a Christian. I'm just trying to convince myself about what the Europeans have told us about this kind of invention. So what I call an invention, I said the invention of the Christian image, the Jesus image. So it became another argument till I got my destination. So when I went back to Japan, I realized we the Africans, we have our problem, but the African American is also lost, same way as we are lost. Okay, let me go to the internet, let me do something, but something that will attract them first. Like they saw the Jesus mystery, they saw it was Jesus, it was a Christian something. So I thought of Amen. Everywhere you go, you meet Amen, Amen, Amen. I tried to explain the Amen to them that Amen is just the shortened form of Amenhotep or Amen Ra or those kind of things, which they don't agree. Okay, so I broke it down. So the A, I decided to make it African, the M, mind, E, emancipation and network. And I got this kind of thing fitting the Amen exactly. So I started with it. And it was quite amazing. A lot of people came in thinking it was a Christian network. But the moment they realized, it's not Christian, but rather African centered, they left. And I left them. But we got some conscious guys who are still in it. A lot of people now getting their things, their mind straight, and they get back to it. Yeah. So it's quite interesting. That's how I got that African Mind Emancipation Network.
So y'all make sure that y'all who are listening, search for it on your Facebook page, the African Mind Emancipation Network, and join and keep the conversations going and share your wisdom with each other. And speaking of, I'm gonna need every one of you who is in the chat or listening live or catching the archive, I'm gonna need y'all to right. I need y'all to hit the like button, and I need y'all to share this program so that we can expand our knowledge base of wonderful scholars and conversations so that we can disrespectfully interrupt the mundane that is floating on YouTube and other social media networks. So we can only do that with your help. So make sure that you like this program and that you share this video with all your friends, family, and colleagues. And so I kept seeing earlier that a lot of people was digging your hat and want to know where they can get that hat from.
Yeah. Well, actually, there's a brother in Ghana whom I
Uh-huh.
grew up with. He's a tailor. So all the African stuff I'm using in Japan, he's making them for me.
All
Yeah, and
right.
he made this kind of things for me. And there's another brother in Accra, Art Center in Accra. He also got this for me. This is one
Mm,
of the Adinkra symbols.
mm.
I think you know about Adinkra symbols.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
indeed.
This is a Funtumreku Denchemreku. The Funtumreku Denchemreku symbol. That is the mythical symbol of two crocodile. Two-headed crocodiles, but with one stomach.
Hmm.
Yeah, one stomach. So when the when one head is eating, the food will get to the same stomach. But being heads, they think differently. So they fight about the food. They fight about the food, but when they eat, it gets to the same stomach. Okay.
Hmm.
It's like how the society is. We from like brothers or sisters from the same family might have different way of thinking, but
Hmm.
they belong to the same family. And that's what we have now in Africa. The African family or the black family, now we got Muslims, Christians, all those kind, but we belong to the same African race. So we need to come back, keep our knowledge, our knowledge base from Africa, which was the beginning of everything. Keep it up and try to get together and put our things straight, put our mind straight and get everything in line. That's the symbol I'm using now. Funtumreku, Denchemreku. Yeah, the Edinka
Indeed.
symbols. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we are working here in the United States
Yeah.
uh, to to keep that tradition.
Mm-hmm.
I call it the African American Adinkra Project,
Okay.
to where inspired by the Egyptian Meta Nature,
Mm-hmm.
the Akan Adinkra symbols,
Yeah.
the Zulu scripts and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We want to create our own symbols and contribute that to that body of iconic wisdom
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is across Africa. So we have a few symbols and we're going to be creating more. And so I
Sure.
call the symbols Busongi. And coming from the Chiluba language out of Central Africa,
Yeah.
the word songi means, well, it's two separate words, but they sound exactly alike. So we just merged them.
Mm-hmm.
So one has to deal with cutting and carving and sculpting.
Yeah.
And so, all words for writing in most languages come from a word meaning to cut
Yeah.
or to
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
sculpt. So that that takes care of the sign, the images, so to speak. But then there's another word, songi, which means to provoke thought.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I merged the two,
Mm-hmm.
and just called the scripts
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
symbols Busongi,
Sounds cool, man. That's
so
good. It sounds
uh,
great.
but yeah, but inspired by that heritage,
Yeah.
and so I tell people, you can. I haven't been to Ghana, but everywhere I know who has been, and I see photos, you can see the symbols kind of everywhere,
Yeah.
and it just kind of reinforces
Yeah. Yeah.
the philosophy and ideas and the
Yeah.
expectations.
Yeah.
And so since we're talking about it, can you explain just a little bit about what they are and if you know how they were originally used and what they kind of mean from your perspective for Ghanaian people.
Yeah. Okay. The Adinkra symbol is like Adinkra. It's like two words put together. Edi, Edi or Di. Then Nkra. Nkra is like saying goodbye or farewell or something to someone. And Edi is like doing it. Okay, so Adinkra is a way of like farewell to someone. But in the Akan philosophy, it's like parting away with ancestors. Or we parting away, but at the same time, we keep the link with the ancestors. So it's like in Akan, we say Yeridinkra or Yerizinkra. Yerizinkra is like we are saying goodbye, but that doesn't mean we are apart or we are lost forever. No, we still keep the link, but just we are going somewhere for some time, and I'll come back to visit you, and I'll come back and see you, something like that. That's Yedinkra or Yerizinkra. So that's Edinkra, and the symbols are like the knowledge, the spiritual base which our ancestors laid down to establish our lives is all embedded in the art or the artwork that they do. And the moment you take one symbol, the message sounds so deep into you. Okay. So like the Adinkra symbols is like the words or the message or the spirit of the ancestors. And and when you say message is nothing like the spirit of the person or the heartbeat of the person. Okay. So when we say the message of the ancestors, it's like the spirit or the heartbeat of the ancestors coming back to us through that symbol. So that is the Adinkra symbol. And it's unfortunate that now, many Africans, particularly many Ghanaians, even don't know about these Adinkra symbols. And the moment they see it, they see it's like some kind of old something. But I give big thanks to the African Americans, our brothers in the diaspora, especially in African America. The African Americans have done a great work in bringing all these kind of things up. Now if I tell you, if I go to America, for instance, like the Diop conference and other things, I feel more African than I go to Ghana. Okay, because if I go to Ghana, while I go to the village, I go to the elders, pop my libation and everything. But after that, finished. If I go to my friends, people everywhere, it's Western life, typical Westernization. They don't want to do anything relating to African culture or something. Even names, many of them wouldn't like to use the African names or the Ghanaian names. But now it's African American who are even bringing up the African names, which we can now hear and wow, that's a good name. Yeah, the first time I read about Molefe Asante's book, Afrocentricity, I thought he was a Ghanaian because of the name.
Yeah.
But when I started communicating with him, I realized he's an American. So, wow. Even American can take such a name and write so deep about our culture. And that is what made me to contact him and go to Philadelphia to see him. And I started my, whole thing. And, not just Molefe Asante, by reading from Dr. Henry Clark, Dr. Ben Jokanan, Jeffries, Dr. Smalls, and, Asahilia, they know these kind of people. And, Tony Browder, I met him once, and, you can feel the real Africanness that we have lost. Many of us have lost in Africa. You can see it in these men. And they represent the real African spirit that we are trying to lose in Ghana. So I worship the African Americans. Wherever I meet African American, I say thank you to them because they have brought us back and they are still bringing us, putting us back to ourselves, which we need to embrace. So the symbols are like that. They are the message or the spirit or the heartbeat of the ancestors who have left. And they left the symbols to become the link between the living and the death. So that's the meaning of the Adinkra.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
Are you working on any text about anything? And if so, when can we expect any of these works?
Yeah. I have tried many times to put my thesis together,
Uh-huh.
but still I've not been able to do it because of economic issues in Japan.
Uh,
I have to work. In Japan we work like we work around the clock.
yeah.
I'm teaching at the university primary school, and I have my own private classes at home. I do the African tradition, drumming and other things on weekends too. So
Mm,
all my days I'm working. So I used to use some little time during summer vacation to go to Ghana and do some writing. But for about 3 years now, I've not been able to do that. And the corona just came in, the COVID came in and stopped everything. So now I'm still working on them. But pretty soon you're gonna hear something from me, please.
mm.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah. Sure. Sure. Sure.
So we're kind of wrapping up here, and I just wanted to first and foremost thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
And I hope this isn't your last time coming on,
Yeah.
the program, and
Yeah.
maybe we can get some more time from you.
Yeah.
But if they want to get in contact,
Yeah.
my listening audience wants to get in contact with you and learn more
Yeah.
about what you're doing and things, how can they get in contact with you?
Well, my mail address is affirmistics
Oh, that's right. I got the
at yahoo.com. That's
there
my
we
mail
go.
address. And my Facebook, yeah, Facebook is my name, Paa-Kofi Aikins, my name. So on the Facebook. Then let's see. My phone number, my telephone number is 0081. That's Japanese code 81. Yeah, 0081
Mhm.
9022576768. 819022576768.
These
Got it?
two separate numbers, or that's one number?
Yeah.
That's one. That's a
Yeah.
long number. Hold on. You tell me if I got this right.
Yeah. 81.
Hold
That's the
on.
Japanese code. 819022576768. Yeah. You wrote them two times.
Oh, I wrote it. I knew
Yeah.
something was wrong. Hold on.
So
Let
the
me.
68 is the end.
Then it cuts off there.
Yeah. You wrote them double. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
812257. Okay, you got it.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's my contact here.
So for
Yeah.
those of y'all who have WhatsApp,
Yeah.
y'all can hit him up on WhatsApp. And so let me see here. So yeah, again, I do appreciate you greatly. Is there anything that you want to say that's on your mind before we go?
Yeah. What I can say is, in fact, it's really important to rediscover yourself as an African.
Mm.
And knowing yourself first is the key to your happiness, your success, and everything on this earth. It is knowing myself as an African that has given me the chance, or has taken me through all what I've been doing till today. And nobody is going to push me or shake me from my stand as an African.
Mm.
But if you don't know yourself well as who you are as an African, anything can shake you down, anything and any information. So please, I ask my brothers and sisters, African Americans and Africans everywhere, please go back to yourself. Try to feel what you are. Possibly try to read books that will tell you about who you are. And know and be very confident that you are an African, you are a black man, black woman. You have the kind of melanin in you. and that will keep you going. That's it. Yeah.
Indeed, and that's what we try to encourage. This is why we have guests such as Dr. Paa-Kofi Akins and others, so that you are reaffirmed
Yeah.
about who you are,
Yeah.
and to give you tools
Yeah.
to help you along your ancestral journey
Yes.
to sustain and expand
Exactly.
the vision that the ancestors had for their children.
Exactly.
And so I greatly appreciate you
Yeah.
coming here and sharing your wisdom and um, your history with us. And
Yeah.
so again, the doors is always open,
Yeah.
here for you, and I would love to have you back on
Yeah.
in the near future.
Hmm.
And so, just a quick announcement again: on Sunday, for those of you who listen at 9 a.m., Sunday, August the 22nd, we are going to have Dr. Tunde Adegbola, who's a human language technologist. He's a linguist and also a computer scientist. And we spoke about drums earlier, and we're going to expand that conversation from the Yoruba perspective, and talk about his collaboration with other scholars and deciphering Yoruba bata drums, the communication drums, of Yoruba land. And so that's going to be this Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern time, uh, for those of you in the United States. I believe it's going to be 2 p.m. for those in Nigeria, 2 p.m. Ibadan Nigerian time. And also later on that afternoon at 5 p.m. Um, and at 7 is going to be 7 p.m. for those of you. Uh, no, I think it's a little later because I think it's 19. What's 19 hour? What's the 19 hour? That's 7 o'clock. So I think it's be 6 o'clock Eastern time for those of you in the United States. So 7 p.m. Brazilian time, 6 p.m. New York time, and then those of you Central will be 5 p.m. So we're going to have our good brother Dr. Duarte Odara, and we're going to talk about the wisdom of Ptah-hotep, as classical African philosophy, and how this can be utilized in modern times, and how are they embracing philosophy, African philosophy and culture in Brazil at this time. So the Afrocentric project is worldwide, and more and more every day, African people are reclaiming their African heritage and integrating it in their life, the wisdom and philosophy, and enhancing their lives, with the wisdom and of the ancestors. So, with that said, I wish you all a good night, and I want to thank our guests once again for coming. And y'all basically know my contact information and where you can find me. I'm all over social media. And thank you, those who donated to the channel, and want to also thank Kadeem Stewart. I see your contribution uh, via the Cash App, and I wanted to thank you as well. So, with that said, y'all have a good night or a good day wherever you are in the world, and I will see y'all Sunday. Peace.